Hey guys, welcome back. This is Patrick Style here again. Bonus video for today, giving you two videos for today. And this one is about how to be super welcoming to your first-time guests at church this Christmas, okay? So I want to make sure you guys are setting yourselves up to have most fantastic Christmas services. You know, you get a lot of guests. They're either first-time guests or Christmas-only guests at Christmas time, and I want to give you every possible chance to have those people come back again and again. So I've got like 16 different ideas here for you to how to be super welcoming to guests at Christmas. And so this, hopefully this will be really great for you and your church. Okay, so I'm gonna start off with two suggestions here that are kind of related. They're real quick. Post your events on your website and Facebook. Okay, and then also use videos to invite people through Facebook. And both of those are ideas that I have created separate videos for today, either here on the 10X Church page or on my Church Buzz Facebook page. And so I will link to both of those in this video and in the blog post where this video ends up residing. And so those are real important to make sure that people know about the events that are happening at your church, like through your whole Christmas season, right? Not just your Christmas services on Christmas Eve and Christmas, but also, you know, breakfast with Santa and Christmas caroling and, you know, whatever other kinds of traditions that you guys do at your church during the Advent season. So that's going to show you exactly how to post those up on your website, how to post them up on Facebook, and then how to share those out with people and promote them through Facebook to do advertising to all the people around your town and all that kind of stuff. And then do the same thing with videos. Videos are really important and a great way to make human connection with people. So those are the first two ideas. Here's another one. Create posters about your church events and your Christmas Eve services that are happening and put them up around town, inviting people to actually come to your church. Whoever thought of actually inviting people to come to your church service on Christmas Eve, right? And so make sure you're doing that. Let people know that not only are you welcoming to them, but man, you really want them to come. Like you're wanting them to come and be part of your church service, okay? Then make sure at your church you have good signage, both in terms of like advertising the times of your worship services and that kind of thing. You know, have a big banner out there for the whole month of December, advertising when you're having Christmas Eve services, the times that you'll be having them, and if they are candlelight services, make sure that that's noted on there. And you definitely need to have candlelight services, at least one or two, if not all of them need to be candlelight services, because that's what people really like on Christmas Eve, at least here in the US. And then make sure that on Christmas Eve, when they come to your church, that there's good signage, either directing them to where they need to park, or that you have parking lot greeters or attendees out there that are directing people. Make sure that they're dressed up in something fun, not an orange safety vest that looks very much like a security cop or something like that. They're, you know, maybe even wearing a Santa hat, you know, if you can get away with that at your church, or just at least a nice Christmas sweater or something. They just look like real people, loving people, but maybe they have on a special sash or a hat or something denoting that they are part of the staff. Maybe you create a t-shirt specifically for this. And so yeah, either have the signage directing people of how to get into the sanctuary, or having the parking lot team out there. And you know, the parking lot team, really the whole idea there is to be looking for those people who are not connected to your church, that this parking lot team would be people that know who's a member of your church and who isn't, so that when they see someone that isn't, that they can then walk them into the church and hand them off to the ushers that are standing inside waiting for these folks, right? So if you're going to get a lot of guests, you're going to need a lot of volunteers set up to be ushers. And the whole idea here is that the parking lot team hands them off to the ushers, or that if it's not a big deal to park in your parking lot and come into the sanctuary, it's very simple to know how to do that at your church. Then you just let them come in, and then you have ushers there, and they're looking for people that are not connected to your church, these Christmas only or first time guests. And then the whole idea is not to just point them to where the sanctuary is, but to actually go up and meet them, introduce yourself, find out their names, find out the names of all their kids, all that kind of stuff, and say, hey, let me walk you into the sanctuary, right? So you don't need 2 ushers to just point to the sanctuary. You need 20 ushers, maybe. I don't know. Depends on the size of your church. Maybe you need 5, maybe you need 10, 20, I don't know. So that each usher feels free to be able to walk that particular family into the sanctuary, help them find a seat, introduce them to a couple of people around them, and then they come back to their post. So that may take 5 or 10 minutes depending on how talkative they are and how long it takes to do all that, right? So plenty of ushers, and again, these are people that are actually wanting to meet these folks as they walk in and get to know them. And then I would have, as your ushers are like walking back to their post, like get on their phones and document somewhere in some shared thing. Maybe it's it could just be a group text message with all of your ushers, and maybe your other leadership staff and things like that, your pastor or whatever. It could be a private Facebook group. Lots of different ways to do this, but document, hey, I just met Dan and Susie and their kids, you know, Abe and Justin and little Sally, who's 4 years old. And Dad was wearing a gray sweater and Mom was wearing a pink blouse, or whatever. And this is what I learned about them, right? So you're sharing some information about these people that you just met, and now the whole idea is to let the rest of your team know that these folks are in your church, who they are, where they come from, whatever you learned about them. Okay, see my other blog post where I talk about having a good conversation with people, and so now everyone can kind of be up to speed about these first-time guests. Okay. Okay, and then once you get into the service, make sure as whoever's doing the sort of the greeting to the congregation that they are specifically addressing those first-time guests. Hey man, we're just so thankful that you were here. Merry Christmas. It's so great that you're here with us. If this is your first time, listen, this is going to be a great Christmas service, right? And we hope that you are blessed by this and that you'll tell all your friends and that you will come back again and you will be with us. And, we're not perfect here at this church. We're just trying to love Jesus. And we hope that you feel that you feel the sense of community that we have here in this church, and you feel the love of God, and that you will want that again next Sunday. And maybe you're going to be traveling out of town, but that's okay. Come back 1st of January, whatever, just keep inviting them back to church, right? Maybe here's an idea I had, just invite everyone to sort of fully participate, to kind of, recognize that, man, we're all coming in here. We may have our own family stresses and our own pain that we're bringing with us. Some people are going to be grieving at Christmas time. Because they just lost a loved one, or because they've lost a loved one in the past at Christmas time. Maybe they're grieving a divorce. There's all kinds of reasons, all kinds of pain that that adults bring in with them, right? The kids are all happy and giddy and everything else, but the adults may need a little bit of encouragement to fully participate here and to understand, listen, whatever you brought with you, we all have our things that we bring with us into this service. But you know what? Our God is bigger and stronger and more loving than all those things. And so just be here today in this worship service and let all that go. And just be here to worship your God and to love your God and let Him love on you. And maybe if you're bringing in guilt, that God would just forgive you of that you'll ask for forgiveness, and then it'll be washed away clean. And just use this time as a time to just connect with your God, that kind of thing, right? And then maybe, if your church ever does a welcoming time, maybe this is a day where you do a Christmas hug time, right? Everybody loves to get a hug, and I think when you're doing something special like Christmas, that you can take a little bit of liberty here to invite people to give each other a Christmas hug, right? And so everybody loves a hug. Most people love a hug. Not everybody, but most people. And so maybe you encourage your congregation, hey, let's just offer each other a little Christmas hug, a little Christmas cheer this evening or afternoon, whatever it is, and just tell each other how much you appreciate each other. And if it's somebody you don't know, just find out a little bit about them, have a little conversation with them and just get to know them. We are a community here. We're a community of believers, and we just all want to be friends and just love on each other. And so let's do that here for just a minute, and give them plenty of time to do that, okay? Don't rush through it so that they feel like they have to just Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, and then we're back to worshiping again, right? Because that doesn't really do anything. Encourage the conversation, right? Okay. And then pastors, make sure that your sermon is one that is going to be applicable to both your members and your guests. That people that are walking into your service for the very first time, they would go, wow, that sermon was very powerful for me. Like, I don't know much about God, I don't know much about anything, or I've not been connected to God in a long-term relationship, but wow, that sermon was really effective for me. It really made sense to me. Or the whole Christmas message, you know, bring that whole sense of hope and joy and anticipation. You know, that's something that everyone can grab a hold of. I would say make sure your music is traditional Christmas music. Hi Don, thank you for tuning in. Make sure your music is traditional Christmas music that everybody knows. Everybody loves the music, right? And so if you can have a first-time guest walk away from your Christmas Eve service going, well, that was just a fantastic service, man. I love the music. That's all the Christmas carols I've been wanting to sing, or that I love to sing. That's all of them. You know, "Oh, come all ye faithful," and "Joy to the World," and all these great songs. They're really gonna have a great experience at your church. It's gonna make Christmas more meaningful to them. And if nothing else, you've laid the groundwork for them to come back to your service again next year because they loved it so much, right? And so having that music that's familiar, it allows you to connect with the worship, connect with the music, connect with God, I believe. And so that's what I would encourage you on that. And then just be creative and make the service as awesome as possible. Look for ways to use visual aids and to do, you know, different kinds of things to make the service come alive for them, right? To use props or skits or people dressed up in period costume, you know, have the three wise men walk in, you know, in their garb, or have Jesus and Mary come in the processional, and you know, pregnant Mary, and then by the time the service is over, she has the baby. You know, I don't know, just be creative with it, right? Don't this is an opportunity to kind of pull out all the stops and do the most awesome service to honor the baby Jesus, but to really help people connect with him in every way that you can. Okay, and then after the service, make sure you're offering cookies, some type of food and fellowship, and encourage people to do that, to participate in that, and encourage, you know, weeks before, encourage your members to make sure that they invite, you know, if you're sitting by a guest on Christmas Eve, at the end of the service, make sure you invite them, that guest, to come and have cookies with you afterwards, and continue the conversation and ask them questions and get them engaged, right? It shouldn't just be, hey, just come down and have cookies, and then they're standing there and no one's talking to them and all that kind of stuff, right? We want to engage with them and make them feel super welcome and super, like, you know, we just enjoyed them being there, and we just want to love on them. And then also give them some reason to return. So this is something you pastors and worship staff and everybody have to work on, is like, what about the Sunday after Christmas? What are you offering them that they're going to want to come back for? What about maybe at the first of the year, you're going to start a new sermon series. So you're going to be promoting that all the way through Advent, all the way through December. And, you know, the first or second or third Sunday in January, you're going to start off some new sermon series that's very applicable to families, to parents, to children, whatever, that's going to attract the people that you want to attract, and that's obviously going to be true to the Word of God, is going to be biblically driven, all those kind of things. But how can you make that be something that's relevant to them, that they may think, well, yeah, after this experience, and you've intrigued me with that idea of that sermon series, yeah, I definitely want to come back. You know, that's what you want people to leave with at your Christmas Eve services. And then if you do get them to sign in somehow, if you have them sign in some kind of guest registry or something like that, make sure you follow up with them. Send them a card reminding them about that sermon series coming up. Give them a phone call where you offer to pray for them. You offer to meet with them if they want to ask any questions about your church or about religion or about God, about anything that they experienced. You know, offer to have coffee with them, offer to have lunch, anything like that. Because look, that's where you're going to get that human connection. That's where you're going to be able to establish a relationship between you and them. If you're the pastor, it doesn't have to be the pastor, but if you're the pastor and you can sit down and have lunch with somebody, man, you're 95% there in terms of their desire to want to come back to your church again, because you cared enough, you spent the time. You know, you don't have to buy them lunch, but that would be a nice touch too. If you bought them lunch or bought them coffee or whatever, you know, you invested in them. And that's, I believe, going to pay you great dividends. This is proven principles in so many areas of life. If you've ever been in sales or anything like that, you know that that's exactly the way this stuff works, okay? So those are the 16 different tips that I have for you guys in how to be super welcoming in and around, before and after your Christmas Eve services, so that the folks that are visiting your church, either they're Christmas only visitors or just first-time guests, period, churched or unchurched, that you'll be able to be super welcoming to them, love on them, build relationship with them, and hopefully you'll see them again next Sunday or 1st of January, or who knows, March or June or August, next Christmas, whatever, and you can continue building that relationship with them, okay? That's my message for you today, guys. God bless and have a Merry Christmas, and I just pray that God will bless all of your churches with a whole bunch of guests and that you'll be able to be super welcoming to them. All right, God bless. Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.